So recently I shot my first real kind of documentary, and today I just kind of wanted to go over what worked, mostly what didn't work, and a little bit of just the process. So this was a documentary I made pretty much all by myself about a band that I used to be a part of, and the goal of the project was to show their progression throughout the season as well as kind of be a promotional video for them. The project was shot over 5 days. I had 1 day for the interviews and then 4 other days following the action, shooting their rehearsal and their shows. Let's start off with something that I didn't do well, and that was rolling the camera. I definitely did not roll for long enough. I found a lot of my takes just were really hard to edit around because I would just cut camera so soon I wouldn't hold on to a shot for long enough. This was one of the things I knew going into the documentary, that I was like, okay, I have to roll the camera and make sure I have something to work with, and even with that in mind, it just still was not long enough. So definitely just go longer than you'd think. And how about something I did good, which was keeping my footage organized. Every day after a shoot, I would back up the footage and then I would pull it into Resolve and organize it into its own bin for the day. And then pretty much within a day, I would have picked out all my selects from all the clips. Also for the interviews, I used markers within the clips to punch out exactly where each question was said. So if I knew I didn't need this question, then I could just go to the next marker and I knew I would be at the next question in the interview. I think it was really good that I did the interviews first. This gave me an idea of what I needed to shoot later on because I kind of had a little bit of an outline of a story and who I was going to be really following throughout the rest of the project. And one thing I learned was just try to connect with the subjects before you start shooting. I found I was kind of jolted into this project and I had a little bit of an introduction in front of everyone, but I never really made too much of a personal connection with a lot of the people, which made them timid to the camera, me timid towards shooting them, and just me generally not being able to capture as much emotion as I probably could have. Next time I also want to be focusing on less characters. It was just kind of difficult trying to craft a story around this big homogenous group of people, and I think it makes it less personal because we don't get to know each individual person as much. One thing I did good was spending time getting establishing shots as well as reaction shots. I would often find a little place where the band wasn't doing much and I would roam around the location and try and just get some establishing shots of the space. This really helped when changing scenes and for creating cutaways. Also reaction shots, there was a lot of times when it would be one of the band leaders kind of talking to everyone, and it was really important to turn towards everyone listening and getting those reactions. This helped make things more fluid because it kind of made it seem like they were saying everything all at once, but really it was cut up quite a bit. This is especially important because I was just working with one camera, so I didn't have another angle to be cutting to. In general, I just found it really important to be thinking about the editing at the same time when shooting, especially in documentary where you don't have all these things planned out. You just have what you have and you have to work with it. So it's really important to give yourself some kind of out in the edit. And the biggest mistake I made on this documentary was taking so long to finish it, and that finished in the summer, and it took me all the way until the end of the year to finally finish editing it, and just getting around to it seems really daunting, and it is, but eventually I got into a little bit of rhythm and I made most of my progress on the edit within about a week. And I thought it was just really important to finally get it out there. It helped clear my mind and help me move on to other projects. So those are the biggest takeaways I had from this first documentary. In general, I think just thinking about the editing throughout the whole process is going to help, and trying connecting with your subjects and finding the deeper story is going to make a much more compelling piece in the end. And this is how I turned my sister's room into a little studio, shooting on FX6 with some standard zoom lens. It's the B-Cam, my X-T4 with some NPF power. Here's the backdrop, just a bed sheet. I have that little slash of light with this Moelis G200 and the Aperture barn doors. And then I have this big sheet of half grid on a C-stand. And my favorite, SkyPanel S30. This thing's running at 100%. And yeah, big soft light. It spills everywhere, but I kind of like the look in this white room. It kind of bouncing everywhere. And then Sennheiser 416 boomed overhead, hooked up to the FX6. Yo.